Brown, Head of Channel and Partnerships at OpenSpace, and I'm delighted to be joined by Tom Herbert. Hi, Tom.
Hello. Hi, how are we doing?
Good, thank you. Would you mind just sharing what your role at OpenSpace is?
Absolutely. So I look after the solution engineering team here in EMEA. Ultimately, the kind of technical pre-sales side of things, the person they roll in when they got some pointy questions and need some help answering them.
Perfect. Well, listen, I know that you have started to see some great success within facilities management, and I have always secretly thought what a great fit that would be for OpenSpace. So I'm dying to hear more. What are they finding interesting about OpenSpace?
Absolutely. So this has come up a number of times with some big customers, with some smaller customers. And ultimately, the main problem they face is lack of documentation. So throughout a construction process, they might be given, say, an O&M manual at the end, which is a big old book of thousands of images. So if they have a problem, say a leak or something like that, they need to go find some documentation for it. It's a long, hard process. It's never as simple as going, okay, I need to look in this room in this place. There might be 2,500 pages to go through to find that. OpenSpace, if it's used during construction, obviously they have this immediate way of looking back through and going, just clicking on the point they want to find and going to that specific place and rolling back the date. If they want to look through a wall when it was built, they can do that. A lot of people use our reveal mode, so they can go on site with their phone and wind the slider back to ultimately look through walls and things like that. A story one of the guys told me, and it's always sticks with me, was it was kind of the equivalent of buying a Ferrari without any paperwork, so having an old O&M manual, yes, the service history is there, but it's very, very difficult to get through. Imagine losing that or having no documentation. The risk of buying a Ferrari like that would be huge. Imagine going into a building and all of this is provided. The value for the owner is significantly higher because they have all of this history, but for the facilities management team, it's then a lot easier to do their job. Say there isn't any documentation and they're starting from scratch, They can do once a month walks, things get used, there's maintenance, general maintenance, but we've got big customers that do a once a month walk just for a snapshot of that period of time in the building. So then they can go back in a year's time and see how things are wearing, how things are holding up, paint, anything like that. And it's so simple for them to go back in time and be able to look against a previous condition. That's one of the biggest things they're seeing with OpenSpace, is just how easy it is to go back and look at that condition of room or location.
And so within facilities management, I suppose you're managing and juggling so many of the HVAC people, the hardware, the vendors associated with that. Are you hearing people using OpenSpace to share that information across the different subcontractors and teams they're working with?
Absolutely. And a huge thing for them is that collaboration with their client. So with the field notes functionality, for instance, they can just snap a picture on site and say, hey, X person, I want you to add to the viewers list, and they can look at that. Or they can go and do a survey of site and then pump out a PDF report and send that to whoever needs it. And because of how collaborative that is and how simple it is just to pump that out, it's saving them hours a day, hundreds of hours a month per person, just enabled to be able to do that kind of thing. We've got teams that work across the globe. So there's a project in London, for instance, where the client is in New York. The team in London can go and do a walk at 8 a.m. By the time the team in New York wake up, they can then review the building remotely, make comments, and then the team can work on that in the afternoon, next morning, do their walk, get more comments. Instead of, at the start of, or in the middle of COVID, when they signed up, that client hadn't seen their building properly for 2 years nearly. They were doing FaceTime walks with that particular customer. And although that kind of bridged the gap for them, it's not the same as going, hey, I want an up-close photo of this light switch, for instance. Okay, that's not good enough, or it's the wrong color, whatever it is. Being able to have that level of information in front of them that easily has been absolutely life-changing for those teams.
Tom, what are the main risks associated with facilities management? So if you don't have that, and if you don't do so, what's that risk here?
Well, there's a couple of things. There's, I wouldn't say risk as such, but time taken to do these things. The difference between doing a manual report, going around manually taking pictures and then getting it to someone. not just the taking pictures, but then someone's got to get back to a desk and write that report. I suppose there is a risk in element of time of how quickly that takes to get fixed. If it's a health and safety issue or something like that, it's going to be significantly longer to get anything turned around in that time. There's a cost risk there. Obviously, if there's a leak or something like that, being able to get these sign-offs and things quickly from a client is significantly quicker if they're involved in the same sort of system. And the other thing is budget and things like that, in terms of budgeting for future problems, but future issues. You see these things turn around. Oh, that particular type of light bulb blows every 3rd week, or okay, there's another issue there. It's been able to go back with an audit log and go, well, we've changed this X number of times, because you can go back and look at it, rather than it being on a bit of paper or something like that and going in a drawer. It's that kind of audit log. It's having everything in one place that helps a lot of this risk kind of disappear.
That's great. What do you think, how do we help sort of the utilization? And what's coming to mind are sort of mission critical operations, like a hospital, or even, your supermarket that is 24 hours and has to be up and running. So facilities management there is so critical. You don't have a couple of weeks to be shut while something gets fixed.
No, and that's exactly it. And that's the beauty of having such a simple system. The adoption rate on what we do is sky high. So when people go to OpenSpace, very rarely do they go, no, this isn't for me. They'll go back. People always try and find the path of least resistance. In this case, OpenSpace is the path of least resistance, which is great, because it's significantly easier for everyone involved to be able to go down this route. With field notes being available, with, you mentioned supermarkets, if they need a pump room, or if there's something really critical, like one of the fridges breaks and they need to get someone out to look at that, you can do a 3D scan from your phone to within, an inch of accuracy, to be able to build this 3D image in, say, 30 seconds. You could send that to the HVAC repair or the refrigerator repair company and share your project with them, and they'll go, oh yeah, this part needs fixing. That will save a call out. That will save a 3-day turnaround of waiting for the right person to come. You could have problems fixed in an absolute minuscule amount of time, compared to what if you didn't use it.